Hello, soul family. Welcome to Spiritual Manifestation. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you've been here before, I'm so glad to have you home. Now, I have to say, this message already feels so spiritually charged. If you've been feeling like all eyes are on you lately, like everywhere you go, people are staring just a little too long or watching you with a kind of quiet curiosity. You're not imagining it. You're not just being paranoid. There's something happening in the energy right now, and it's you they're picking up on. You've probably noticed that you don't blend in easily. You were never meant to. Your energy doesn't whisper. It radiates. You move through the world with a kind of frequency that hits people deep, even if they can't explain it. And it's not about looks or how you speak. It's something beyond the surface, something sacred. You're the kind of presence that people can feel before you ever open your mouth. What they're responding to is your essence, your soul's light. You're not normal, and you were never meant to be. You're an anomaly in the best possible way, magnetic, elevated, unforgettable. And even if they don't understand it consciously, there's something in others that recognizes that your spirit carries a vibration they can't quite place. And yes, that energy stirs people. It awakens things in them. It can make them feel exposed, inspired, or even intimidated, because your light brings contrast. And the most powerful part? You don't even have to say a word. Sometimes your stillness speaks louder than anything else. Let's pull a card and see what Spirit wants to show us here. And we just got the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, this makes so much sense with what I'm already feeling from your energy. Because the Queen of Pentacles is all about grounded strength, inner security, and that nurturing light that people feel even when you're not saying a word. You carry this quiet kind of confidence, you know? It's not loud, it's not performative. But it's so steady, there's a calm assurance in how you move. And people feel that even if they can't explain it, like they're safe around you, like you're holding something stable in a world that often feels chaotic. That's part of what draws them in. You may not always realize it, but your energy speaks louder than anything else. People see you or even just pass by you, and something in them shifts. Something inside them wakes up. There's a kind of soul recognition that happens, like their spirit sees yours and just responds. It's deep, it's quiet, it's real. And here's the thing, your voice, it carries weight, not just in volume, but in truth. You speak what you see. You feel things before they're even fully formed. And the way you express your thoughts, it's like a breath of fresh air. You don't try to be perfect. You just are, raw, honest, present, and in a world where so many people feel pressured to pretend or hide, your vulnerability stands out. It's rare, it's powerful, it's cleansing, like your truth rinses out the noise around you. Even when people don't know your story, they can feel what you've overcome. There's something unshakable about you. Like your soul has weathered 1,000 storms, but still finds a way to smile toward the sky. That resilience, it's in your aura. It's in the way you hold yourself and your mindset. It's such a gift. You always seem to find something meaningful, even in the hardest moments. You're the kind of person who looks at a closed door and thinks, okay, what was I meant to learn from that? You're always seeking the deeper purpose. You trust. You listen to your intuition, and you walk forward even when the path isn't clear. That's courage. There's leadership in you too. Not the loud kind that needs a spotlight, but the real kind, the kind people feel. You might be quiet, you might not always show everything you're thinking, but those who can see, they feel it, and they respect it. You don't need to prove anything. You are the proof. And the truth is, a lot of people don't know how to handle that kind of presence. It's not that you're intimidating on purpose. It's that your energy asks people to be real, even if they're not ready. You don't even have to say anything. Your energy alone reflects things back to others. It shows them where they're pretending, where they're holding back, where they've been hiding from themselves. And for some people, that's uncomfortable. But for others, it's life-changing. You're not just seen, you see. You don't just listen, you hear what's underneath. And that makes people feel incredibly understood, and sometimes a little exposed. And what makes your light even more powerful is how deeply connected it is to your heart. You're not just walking through life thinking your way forward. You're feeling your way forward. You feel the room, you feel the shifts, you feel people's truth before they speak it. And instead of using that power to control or manipulate, you use it to hold space, to protect, to bring clarity. That's why people come to you with their hearts open. That's why they ask for your advice even if you've barely said a word. They know you'll hold it with care. And I have to say it, your joy is sacred because it's not performative. It's not fake positivity. It's that kind of light that comes after the dark. You've been through enough to know how to appreciate the smallest moment of peace. You've cried enough to understand the weight of a genuine smile. And that's what makes your presence so healing. You're not pretending life is easy, but you're also not giving up when it gets hard. You are proof that softness can be strong, that stillness can be fierce, that light doesn't need to scream to be seen. And your light, it's beautiful, it's not arrogant, it's loving, it's humble, but it's so bright. You radiate peace, and in a world full of people carrying stress and anxiety, that peace is magnetic. It pulls people in. You hold so much compassion. You speak love, and people feel safe with you, not because you're trying to save them, but because you've created safety within yourself. And that energy, it spills out everywhere you go. Let's pull another card and see what Spirit wants to reveal next. And we just pulled the Hierophant, which is such a powerful message for where this is going, because the Hierophant isn't just about tradition, it's about redefining what tradition means for you. It's about spiritual authority. And that's exactly what you carry. Not because someone gave it to you, but because your soul remembers. You're walking a path that doesn't make sense to most people, and that's exactly why they can't look away. You're not following the usual map. You're not chasing the things we're told we're supposed to value: status, comparison, keeping up appearances. You've stepped out of the box completely. You've created your own map. And even if people don't understand it, they feel something divine in the way you're moving, something intentional, something aligned. That's why some people are so inspired by you and others completely confused. You don't move from ego. You move from inner knowing. And in a world that tries to measure success by numbers or titles or checklists, you're over here asking, but is it real? Does it help someone? Did I grow from it? Did I love through it? That's your definition of success. And it's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's deep. And it makes people question everything they thought they knew. Your energy doesn't just pass through people, it activates them. It turns lights on inside of them they didn't even know were off. It reflects truth. It shows them where they're out of alignment. It brings up parts of themselves they've buried under roles or expectations. And that's why people have such strong reactions to you. Some will be in awe. Some will be uncomfortable. Some won't know whether to run from you or run toward you, because your presence doesn't let the soul stay asleep. You see through people, not to expose them, but to remind them of what they forgot. And that's where it gets profound, because your ability to hold space for others in their most vulnerable moments is exactly what their spirit has been aching for. You're not afraid of the mess. You're not scared of someone's truth. You sit with them in it. And that kind of presence, it's sacred. It's unforgettable. It's healing. But here's what people don't always realize. You're not just a catalyst for them. They're a mirror for you too. You attract powerful soul connections because you're meant to be awakened through them just as much as they are through you. Some of these people will trigger deep healing. Some will awaken gifts inside of you. Some will remind you of the parts of yourself that were waiting to come online. It's mutual soul activation. It's soul family. It's divine design. And what's so wild about all of this is that you weren't trying to become this person. You just followed your spirit. You kept choosing truth. You kept choosing growth. You kept choosing your own path, even when it was lonely, even when no one else understood it. And that's what shaped you. That's what made your energy so activating. It wasn't the easy road. It was the right one. And people can feel that. Even if they can't put it into words, something in their soul knows you earned this light. You became it through fire. And now you're the example. You're the proof that you don't have to follow the script to live a meaningful life. You're showing people what it looks like to live on purpose. And not just for show, but for real. Deep down, Spirit placed something inside of you that was always meant to lead others back to themselves. And that's why people remember you. It's not just your words. It's not just your vibe. It's your impact. The shift they feel when they're around you. The mirror you become. The parts of themselves they finally see. And yes, some people don't recognize your light until they've already walked away from it. That's the hardest part, right? Feeling like you were taken for granted. Like someone couldn't see how sacred the connection was until they were out in the world, trying to find you in places you never existed. But no matter how far they search, they never find you. Because you can't be replaced. You're not a template. You're a soul imprint. And your impact stays with people long after you're gone. Let's pull another card. And we just got the star. And honestly, I felt this one coming. Because the star is the card of hope, healing, divine mission, and most of all, resilience. It's that quiet strength that comes after the storm. It's the light that shines because of what you've been through, not in spite of it. You've walked through some deep valleys, haven't you? Rejection, isolation, being misunderstood. Those moments where it felt like no one could see you clearly, like you didn't belong anywhere. And yet, you kept going, you kept healing, you kept rising, not loudly, not for attention, but because something inside of you refused to stay down. That's your soul's strength. That's the kind of resilience that makes people stop and stare, even if they don't realize why. Because you're light. It carries the frequency of someone who rebuilt themselves with grace. And here's what's even more beautiful. You didn't just heal for you. You share it. You reflect it. Maybe not with a microphone in your hand. Maybe not with a platform or spotlight. But in your own way, you've become a vessel for healing. Whether through your words, your presence, your creativity, your energy, you shine in a way that helps others remember that it's safe to trust again. It's safe to rise. You guide people to the light, not by force, but by being it. And yes, your energy feels mysterious. And that mystery? It's sacred. You don't reveal everything. You're not out here spilling your soul to everyone who passes by. You've learned to protect your peace. And that makes people curious. It makes them wonder. Because on the surface, you might seem quiet or guarded, but underneath, there's so much going on. Your spirit is loud. Your purpose is loud. And people feel it. Even the ones who don't understand intuition, something in them still picks up on yours. You don't just walk into rooms, you shift them. You shift the atmosphere without even trying. You bring a new vibration, a deeper presence. And it's not just because of what you do, it's because of who you are. You carry your mission in your energy, in your choices, in the way you hold space for others and stay aligned with your higher path, even when it would be easier to turn away. That's the kind of thing that can't be faked. That's the kind of light that spirit protects. And it's no surprise, because your purpose runs deep. You make decisions from your soul. You value growth. You seek truth. You're not afraid of challenges. You welcome them, because you know they're part of your evolution. And in the middle of all that learning, all that healing, you found something sacred, fulfillment. Not the kind that comes from outside things, the kind that overflows from within. The star is that divine reminder that you've become the light because you've lived through the dark. And now you shine not just for yourself, but for the world. And that light of yours, it reaches people in ways you may never fully realize. Sometimes your presence alone is the prayer someone didn't know they needed. Sometimes your survival becomes someone else's permission to believe again. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to be. And in being fully yourself, you give others the courage to find themselves too. That's your gift. That's your ripple. The lives you've touched simply by staying true to your journey are countless, and spirit honors that more than you know. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, to inspire, to activate, to lead. And people are staring because somewhere deep down, they know, they can feel it. You're different. But that difference, it's not a flaw. It's the reason you're here. Let's pull another card. And we just got the sun. Of course we did. This card is all about joy, radiance, healing, and divine clarity. It's the energy you are, not just what you bring. You are the light. You are the warmth. And people feel it before they ever figure out why. There's something sacred about the way you've learned to love yourself, and not in a loud or performative way, but in a deeply intentional one. You've given yourself permission to find peace, to choose happiness, to enjoy beauty. And in doing so, you've become an example that it's not selfish to put yourself first, that self-love is holy, that nurturing your spirit is a form of worship, and people feel that from you, even if they can't name it, even if they were raised to believe the opposite. Something in your light tells them, it's okay. You're allowed to feel good. And this is what makes you magnetic. It's not just your aura, it's your energy of permission. You make it safe for others to come home to themselves. You've broken free from the programming that said you had to shrink to be loved or serve endlessly to be worthy. And you've done the deep work of learning how to listen to your own needs. What do I want? What do I need? What brings me peace? These are the questions you're living by now. And that peace, it shows, it radiates, it heals. Some people are amazed by it, others are triggered by it, because the truth is, you're doing what they haven't yet allowed themselves to do, receive, to be held, to be lit up from within. And when you express that light, whether through your words, your art, your silence, or just your presence, it moves people. It stirs something deep in their spirit. They may not know why, but they feel it. They feel your gentleness, your wisdom, your strength. You hold the divine in you in such a human, reachable way. And let's talk about your sensuality for a moment, because this is also part of your gift. You feel life deeply through all your senses. You absorb the world through your skin, your heart, your voice, your breath, and then you channel that into something real, something soft, something powerful, whether it's through your touch, your eye contact, the tone of your voice. People feel spirit through you. You are a living, breathing message. And that message says, it's safe to feel. It's safe to heal. It's safe to shine. You are deeply spiritual, deeply compassionate, and deeply human all at once. You're someone others trust without knowing why, because your energy carries the codes of home, of safety, of remembrance. And when others get close to you, especially those who are also on a healing path, there's this mutual recognition. You're not just lighting their path, they're lighting yours too. You meet people who activate you just as much as you activate them. And those bonds, they are soul deep. And part of what's so beautiful about your light is how naturally it shines. You're not trying to be anyone. You're not curating a version of yourself to impress or to prove anything. You're simply being. And that being is so full of life, so full of soul, that it awakens others just by existing. You create beauty through your presence. And your creativity, whether you paint it, speak it, write it, or just live it, it leaves a mark. You bring color into people's gray spaces. You bring softness into their hard edges. And they remember how good it feels to be alive when they're around you. You're not here to fit anyone's mold. You're here to melt them, to warm hearts that have been frozen by fear, to pour into places that have felt empty for too long. And what's wild is that most of the time, you don't even realize you're doing it. You're just following what feels good, what feels true, what feels aligned. But in doing that, you're opening portals for other people to follow their joy too. You're lighting up parts of the world that spirit has been waiting to see bloom. You don't just shine, divine feminine. You ignite. And yes, there's a divine protector in you too. Whether you're masculine, feminine, or beautifully both, there is a strength in you that holds. a grace that guides. People feel safe around you because you don't just speak love, you live it, you embody it. You make others feel seen, supported, and unconditionally accepted. And because of that, people want to show up for you. They want to hold space for you, love you, give back to you, because what you give is so rare, so real, and so sacred. The next card we have here is the Hermit. Of course we did. Because after everything, the rising, the radiating, the leading, this card brings us back to the quiet truth of who you are. The Hermit isn't just solitude, it's sacred space, it's divine alignment. It's the soul's retreat into the inner temple to light a torch that no one can blow out. You've always felt a little different, haven't you? Like there was something about your energy that didn't quite blend in with the crowd. Something quiet, something deep. You've probably walked through seasons of your life feeling like the outsider, even when you were surrounded by people. You've held truths that others weren't ready for. You've seen things that others couldn't see yet. And sometimes that knowing made you feel like you had to dim yourself just to be understood. But here's the truth. Your depth was never the problem. It was your gift all along. You might be introverted. You might keep to yourself. You might take long breaks from the world just to come back home to your spirit. And that's sacred. You're not avoiding life. You're protecting your light. And in that quiet space you've made for yourself, you've built something solid, something strong, something wise. There's a flame in your heart now that was lit in the dark, and it shines out through the cracks in your soul like a beacon. People feel it. They're drawn to it. Some don't know why. But those who carry that same sacred frequency, they recognize you. They see you. They mirror you. Because the ones who are walking a similar path, the healers, the truth seekers, the light carriers, they see you not just as someone powerful, but as someone safe, someone who reminds them that they're not alone. And that's everything. You don't just hold space for others. You invite them into their next level, just by being, just by living from your truth. And Spirit is showing me that you've entered a new layer of your path now, one that's deeper, more refined, more elevated. And the people coming into your life now, they're not just friends, they're mirrors, activators, soul family, divine confirmation, and some of the people who feel the most drawn to you. They don't even know your whole story, but they feel it in their bones. There's something about your quiet strength that makes them want to stand taller. Something about your gentleness that softens the parts of them that have been in survival mode for too long. And it's not because you're preaching. It's not because you're performing. It's because your energy says, I've been there too. And that lived experience, that soul-earned wisdom, it's what makes you trustworthy. You've become a walking permission slip for others to slow down, to tune in, to stop searching outside themselves. Because when they're around you, they don't feel pressured to be anything. They just feel safe to be. That's your magic. That's what the Hermit teaches us, that the light we're seeking is always found within. But sometimes we need someone like you to remind us of that. Someone who's already made the journey inward. Someone who found the flame in the dark and chose to carry it back out into the world. And now Spirit is saying, it's time. You're ready for deeper connections, brighter mirrors, higher service. The ones who are arriving in your life now aren't just passing through. They're here to walk with you, to expand with you, to reflect your own divinity right back to you. You're not meant to do this alone anymore. That season of solitude shaped you, but this next chapter, it's about community. It's about co-elevation, and it's about allowing others to witness the sacred fire you've been tending in private for so long. Because you're not just here to rise, you're here to help others rise too. And the ones who are truly aligned with your energy, they don't just admire your light, they amplify it. They reach for you like you reach for them, beyond the mirrors and into the unseen. That's real. That's love. That's ascension. Moving on, the card we just got is the Judgment. And this is so divinely perfect because judgment isn't about punishment. It's about awakening. It's about soul-level remembering. It's the moment when everything clicks and you realize, this is why I came here. This is who I am. You were always meant to be that voice, the one that doesn't speak at people, but to their soul. The one that doesn't tell them what to believe, but holds up a mirror so they can see what they've known all along. You come into people's lives at exactly the right time. You're not their answer, you're their reminder. And it's your presence, your energy, your clarity that gently lifts the veil and helps them see, oh, this is it. This is what it's been about all along. And the wild part is, you're not even trying to do this. You're just being who you are. But who you are carries a divine frequency. It carries a resonance that touches the deepest parts of people's paths. It doesn't just inspire them, it confirms them. It says, you're not crazy, you're not lost. You've been walking your path all along, and now it's time to rise into it more fully. That's the awakening you spark. That's the judgment moment you bring. And what a sacred role that is. Because when people feel your presence, they don't just feel seen, they feel called. Not by ego, not by pressure, but by something holy, by something ancient and familiar. You carry the energy of ascension, of safe transformation. And so many souls are ready for it, but they've been waiting for someone like you to hold their hand as they cross that next threshold. You are that bridge, the one between the pain and the peace, the shadow and the light, the confusion and the clarity. And when people meet you, it's like they remember who they've been all along, but were too afraid to claim. That's what you do. You give them the space, the trust, and the spiritual green light to finally say yes to their own evolution. And the thing is, it doesn't always happen in big dramatic moments. Sometimes the way you awaken people is through a single sentence, a look, a shared silence, a story from your own life that suddenly mirrors back their own. It's not about being a guru. It's about being real, being embodied, living your truth in such a grounded way that it becomes impossible to ignore. That's what makes you so powerful. You don't try to wake people up. You live awake, and that energy does the work. You've walked through fires and found your way back to softness. You've been broken open and still chose to stay open. And that openness, it creates space. It makes people feel like they're allowed to unfold in front of you, that they're allowed to not have it all figured out. You hold them through that unraveling with grace. You see them when they don't know how to see themselves. And that's where their healing begins. You show them what's possible, Not because your path has been easy, but because you never gave up on it. You've had doubts. You've had moments where you questioned everything, but something deeper always pulled you forward. A voice, a knowing, a light. And now you are that voice for others. You are that light. You carry the energy of destiny in motion. Someone who's still rising, still learning, still reaching for the next layer of their soul, and doing it with love. And that's what people respond to most. Not just your clarity, but your compassion. You don't sit above anyone. You sit beside them. You walk with them. You let them see your heart, not just your wisdom. And in that realness, people feel safe enough to transform. They let go of shame. They loosen the grip of fear. And they start to believe in the version of themselves they've always secretly hoped was real. Because if someone like you exists, maybe they're not too far behind. And this is what Spirit meant when it called you a bridge. You don't just exist between timelines. You help others cross into theirs, into their purpose, into their fullness. You were never here to fit into the old world. You were born to help build the new one. And every time you answer that call, even if it's just by being fully yourself, you send out ripples that awaken people in ways you may never see. But Spirit sees, Spirit knows. And it's all by divine design. And the beauty of it is, it's never one-sided. Because as much as you activate others, they activate you. You meet soul mirrors, soul family, people who awaken you in deeper ways. And that's what this new phase is really about. It's not about walking alone anymore. It's about walking together with those who see you, love you, and help you expand into your highest self. And you'll know them. You'll feel them. Because they'll arrive at the exact moment you're ready to rise even more. Let's pull our final card and feel how Spirit wants to seal this powerful message. And we just got the Empress. What a divine way to close. The Empress is the energy of sacred creation, deep intuition, radiant beauty, and unconditional love. She's the heart-centered leader, the one who nurtures everything she touches, not through control, but through pure presence. And that's exactly who you are. When people come into your field, they feel something shift, not because you're trying to fix them, not because you're giving them answers, but because your presence is permission. Permission to rest, permission to receive. Permission to stop performing and just be. You create a soft space for others to land, one where their nervous system can exhale, their spirit can realign, and their soul can feel seen without needing to explain anything. And this is what makes you unforgettable. You don't just care, you tend. You nurture people's hearts. You speak to the parts of them they didn't even realize were aching. Your intuition knows where to pour love, even when they haven't said a word. You don't need permission to offer healing. You are healing. Not because you've never been broken, but because you've broken open and kept choosing softness anyway. You chose to grow roots and bloom again after the world tried to convince you you couldn't. There's a magnetism in that. The kind of magnetism that pulls people closer to themselves. Your wisdom doesn't demand, it invites. It says, you are already enough. And your way of living, of slowing down, of listening, of honoring your body, your heart, your truth, it inspires others to do the same. It helps them come back home to the sacredness of their own being. And they may not know how to describe what you've given them, but they'll never forget how it felt. And here's what's even more beautiful. You don't just nurture others, you're finally nurturing you. You've been learning how to pour love back into yourself without guilt, how to receive the same kind of tenderness you so easily give away. You're not chasing, you're not forcing, you're magnetizing, because you know now that when you are connected to Source, when you're rooted in your own joy, everything aligned with your highest path flows to you and through you. That's not ego, that's energy alignment. Your path is sacred, not just because of what you give, but because of who you are. You've become a living embodiment of the divine feminine rising, and those who are meant for you, they recognize that, they feel that, they rise alongside you, because your love doesn't just feel good, it elevates. It inspires people to become more of who they really are just by being in your presence. And that, divine feminine, is your legacy, not what you build or achieve, but the way you made people feel safe to become themselves again. And the way you love, it's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's unforgettable. You show up in the little things, in the way you listen with your whole body, in the way you remember the things others forget to say, in the way your presence feels like safety wrapped in softness. You don't need grand gestures to make an impact. You are the gesture, the quiet act of love that lingers long after the moment has passed. You're the kind of person who leaves people better than you found them. And not because you fixed them, but because your presence reminded them that they weren't broken in the first place. You mirror back the beauty they've been afraid to believe about themselves. You remind them that being tender doesn't mean being weak, that being soft is one of the strongest things a soul can be in this world, and that love, real love, starts from the inside. And that's what's changing now. You're not just pouring out, you're filling up. You're surrounding yourself with people who pour back into you, who see your heart, who match your depth, who don't take your nurturing for granted, because you've realized that love isn't something you have to earn, it's something you are. And now, you're only making space for those who reflect that truth back to you. The Empress doesn't chase, she attracts. She knows that what's meant for her doesn't need to be forced. It arrives in divine timing, ready, whole, and real. And that's where you are now, in the season of receiving, in the season of ease, where you can rest in your softness and be met by those who are just as strong in their spirit, those who value you not for what you give, but for who you are, even in stillness. Because you, divine feminine, are no longer available for love that depletes you. You are no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You are rooted now in your truth, in your beauty, in your worth. And from this place, everything shifts. From this place, you create worlds. You bring life to the dreams that once felt far away. And the people who truly see you, they don't just support your expansion, they celebrate it, they water it, and they rise with you. And those who truly see you, they don't just admire your light, they protect it. They hold space for your softness the way you've held space for theirs. They speak life into your dreams the way you've spoken life into theirs. Because this new season you're stepping into, it's not about carrying the weight alone anymore. It's about being surrounded, supported, celebrated. It's about receiving the same depth of love you've spent so long giving. Okay, this feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. You are the Empress, the nurturer, the mirror, the spark, the sanctuary. And the ones drawn to you, It's not coincidence, it's alignment. They come because they're ready to awaken. They stay because you remind them of who they truly are. If this message resonated, be sure to like, share, and comment below. I'd love to hear what this activated in you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so we can continue rising together. I'll see you in the next reading, Soul Family. Until then, take care of your heart. Bye for now.